Hello and welcome to Breakpoint Season 2002. This time we're going to be a little bit quicker than the first season because I'm not going to go through everything. Instead, we're going to start off with just some news and highlights from the off season and then jump right into the games. So the first big exciting news is we've added a fifth team, and this team is the Michigan Wolverines, coached by Mr. S. Mills. So now instead of four teams, we have five. And still, we're going to have each team play each other once, and the team with the best record will be crowned the champions. Other news is that Butler fired their coach F. Lynn and now has D. Wilson. So definitely an upgrade. You can still see they're still the slowest in the totem pole, but at least they're in a better position than they were before. In exciting news on the recruiting trail is Bruce Keaton, the Indiana coach. He not only upgraded his number, but he landed the top three freshman recruits, and we'll see if that's enough to carry them to a Breakpoint championship and perhaps a Breakpoint champion for the next 3 or 4 years. Let's get to the games. Welcome to Memorial Stadium for the kickoff of the 2002 Breakpoint season. Last year we had Indiana at Butler kick off the season. This year Butler comes to Indiana for a great way to start. So let's get right into it. We go to our advantages. We can see that Indiana still has a 1-point home court advantage. And then if we look at their number, it also has a 6-point advantage, which gives Indiana a huge lead to start. Butler in the first half hits a three. Indiana copies the three. So big lead. Going to need a break point from Butler right here if they can get it. And they cannot. They roll a three and end with 6. And so Indiana will walk away victorious over Butler, and that's the second year in a row that they've beaten them. And then a big 5 points here. And so that means a 15-6 score. Next, we go to Notre Dame for the national champions. Valparaiso visit the Irish at Notre Dame Stadium. Let's get right to it. Notre Dame has a 1-point advantage at home field, and then also a 2-point advantage over Valpo, giving them a 3-point advantage to lead, and Valparaiso will roll for the first half, and that's a 5. Notre Dame hits a break point, and that break point will be 5+, another 5+, so this means we're at 10+. And this is the first time we've had a double break point. I knew it was going to come at some point. And Notre Dame is the first team to do it, which is pretty exciting. And they hit a huge 5 on top of that. So they end up with 15 in one half. That's unbelievable. And I think they're going to walk away with a victory here without much issue. And Valparaiso will hit a 3. And Notre Dame can essentially pile on at this point. Double breakout in the first half. Amazing. Final score 22-8. Welcome to the Butler Bowl. Today we have our newest team, the Michigan Wolverines, visiting Butler. So both these coaches are very fresh and new, freshman coaches, and let's see what happens. For advantages, Butler has a 1-point home court advantage, and then the Michigan Wolverines have a 3-point advantage here. And let's get to the rolls. Michigan in the first half pulls off a 3. Butler, first game at home for Wilson, and that's a big whiff. What do they get? It's either going to be a 0 or a 1. It will be a 0. And it looks like Michigan in their first game are in the driver's seat for a win. They hit a break point. That's probably going to be enough. 5 + 2. That's going to be a 7. And now Butler needs to get a break point in order to have even a shot, and they do not get it. They only score 3 points, so very ugly going for that. So final score, Michigan 13, Butler 3. Next up, we have Notre Dame visiting the Indiana Hoosiers. In this game, both teams are undefeated. Notre Dame coming off of a big win over Valpo, and Indiana coming over with a big win over Butler. So kind of maybe the winner of this might be in the driver's seat for the championship. Got to watch out for Michigan. Let's get to it. Indiana has a 1-point home court advantage, And then they also can match that with a 3-point advantage, giving them 4. And Notre Dame's first half die roll. And that's a 4. Really need Indiana to come up short here. Indiana's first half roll. That's a 2. It's a game. So Notre Dame has to hit 3 or higher to have a chance to win. Let's see how they do in the second half. And they come up with a 2, so Indiana is going to be all right to take the win here. Even with a 0, it'll be a tie, but they hit a 3. And so in a close game, it's 9-6, Indiana with the win. If we look at the standings after the first 4 games, we see that Indiana, as expected, has a 2-game lead. Michigan hasn't lost either, so Indiana and Michigan are right now in the fight for the championship. Notre Dame, with a disappointing loss over against Indiana, is in the middle, and then Valparaiso and Butler are near the bottom. So let's continue on as we go to the next games. Welcome to Michigan Stadium. This will be the first game in Michigan. It'll be a classic matchup of Notre Dame versus Michigan, and it just turns out these two teams are tied for 22 each, so there's only going to be a 1-point advantage for Michigan, and let's see how they fare. Notre Dame, first half roll. And that's a 1. It's going to be trouble. And it ends up being a big goose egg for Notre Dame. Michigan can hit big and take commanding lead of this game. And what do? They put up a 2. Still anybody's match. Notre Dame has to hit a 3 or higher to have any chance in here. And they hit a 5. So with a 5 and a 3, Michigan now down 2. If they hit a 3 or higher, they win. Anything lower than that, and they lose. Let's see what they do. Michigan for the win. They hit a break point. They don't even need it. They'll just take the 6, and they'll win 9-5. Congratulations to Michigan winning their second game. They're 2-0 now. Look out, they're coming for Indiana. Welcome to Brown Stadium, where Valpo is going to host the Indiana Hoosiers. You can see in the top corner they have their little emblem, the 2001 Breakpoint champs. So congratulations again to Valpo. This is their first home game of the season, so we kind of get to honor them. And they get to be honored and also face the toughest team in Keaton's Indiana team and their 3 hot freshmen. So let's see how they fare. Valpo has a 1-point home court advantage. And Indiana comes with a 5-point advantage here. So let's move it on. First half, Indiana's roll. And that's a 3. Valpo will need a big roll here in order to get it, maybe a break point to stay competitive, down by 7 after the first. And they're going to hit a 2. Does not look pretty for them. Indiana going to pile onto their lead. And they'll hit a 3, so a break point is necessary for Valpo to win this game. Let's see if they hit it. And they do not. They actually might not even do anything at all. They will score 1 more point. And so another dismal loss, and Indiana gets their revenge. All right, we're back at Michigan Stadium, and this could be the championship game. Indiana visiting Michigan. Both teams are undefeated. Indiana has a 3-0. This is their final game. Michigan, with a win, can also be 3-0, and they have 1 more game on the schedule, and that game is against Valparaiso. So the winner here is most likely in the driver's seat for the championship. Let's get to it. Michigan has a 1-point home court advantage. Indiana has a 3-point advantage on this, so both teams already have on the board, and we'll roll for Indiana's first. And they hit with a 4, kind of in the middle. Michigan needs a big number to keep this competitive. And that's a 3. It keeps them in the running. Still down by 3. Let's see what happens. Indiana. And that is huge. That could be a 1 or a 0. And it's going to be a 0. And so that means they're going to be stuck at 7. Michigan now can beat Indiana with a roll of, they could tie him with a 3 and beat him with anything higher. Here we go. Probably for the championship. Michigan hits a break point. They don't even need any more than the break point. They'll take the 6 and the victory. And look at this. The upstarts Michigan upset Indiana. and take a 3-0 lead and drop Indiana to 3-1. And it looks like Michigan's in the driver's seat. The new upstarts had a chance to be the second champions of Breakpoint. How exciting. Welcome to the Butler Bowl, where the Valparaiso Crusaders take on your Butler Bulldogs. Both teams are winless in the 2002 campaign, so very evenly matched fight. Let's see who walks away a winner on this. Valparaiso will get the 1-point advantage, and Butler will bring in a 1-point advantage for that. So we're even at the start. So let's get to it. Valparaiso first half roll. And they come up with a big 4. That's pretty good. Let's see what Butler can do. Butler only comes with a 2. D. Wilson still looking for his first career win. Let's see if he can get it against Valpo. Valpo almost might whiff on their second half total. They do. They'll put up a 0. And so that means Butler now, they just need a couple of points for the win. Can they knock off the ex-champs Valparaiso's? Oh, no. They can't. They also whiff in which might be one of the saddest games I've ever seen. Valparaiso wins 5-4, and Butler's woes continue. A quick look at the standings with only 2 games left. We see Michigan is on top, undefeated with that surprise win over Indiana. They will just have to beat Valparaiso to be crowned the champions. The other game is Notre Dame versus Butler, and we'll see if Butler can avoid a winless season. So let's go to it. Welcome to Notre Dame Stadium for the final game of the season for both Butler and the Irish. The Bulldogs visiting. D. Wilson still looking for his first win. Notre Dame just trying to salvage what kind of was a disappointing season, sitting at 1-2. So let's get to the game. Butler has no advantage. It'll be 3 points for Notre Dame and then an additional 1 point for their home field advantage. And that gives them 4. And here we go, first half Butler. And they'll come up with a 3, cutting into that advantage. Notre Dame hits a break point, and that'll be 5 plus 4, which is 9. And I think that's going to put them away. Well done by the Irish, looking like they're going to end 2-2. And Butler just can't turn the corner. This is another sad performance. They're only going to put up 4 points. And Notre Dame will just add on some extra points at the end here. And that will be 3 more. And that'll be a 16-4 Notre Dame victory. All right, welcome back to Brown Stadium. Kind of fitting that this could be the championship game here, considering Valpo was the champions last year. If Michigan wins or ties, they are officially the champions. If they lose, they will force a game against Indiana, a rematch, in which Michigan already beat them once. They actually have a 2-point advantage that goes to them, and then a 1-point home court advantage for Valpo. So let's see how this plays out. Michigan, first dice roll. Comes away with a 2. They need to see Valpo miss here. And Valpo looking not very well. This is a repeat of how they played against Butler in the last game. And so Michigan carries their 2-point advantage into the second half. Let's see if it's enough for the victory and the championship. Oh no. They will score a 0. So now here it is. Valpo needs to score 2 points to tie, 3 and higher to win. Valpo for the win. The upset over Michigan. They pull it off in a big fashion, 7-4. Congratulations to Valpo, crushing Michigan's dream. So this will force a championship game between Michigan and Indiana. Welcome to the 2002 Breakpoint National Championship between the Indiana Hoosiers and the Michigan Wolverines. This is the Indiana Hoosiers' second appearance. They were also in the 2001, but they were defeated by Valparaiso. Let's see if they can change that fate and actually win a championship. Michigan, the big surprise, the newest team, they also came in 3-1 and were upset by Valparaiso as well in the regular season, which forced this game at Notre Dame Stadium. So let's get to the action. This is a neutral field game, so there's no advantage for home field, but there is an advantage for Indiana of 3. And here's the first roll for Indiana's first half, and oh, they missed with a 1, and that's going to end up just being 1 point, so they only have a 4-point advantage going into Notre Dame's next roll. Here's the roll. Boom! Michigan hits a break point, and we can add 3 to that. That's going to be 8 points, and they've got a 4-point lead going into the second half. Here's the roll by Indiana. They hit a break point. Add 5 plus 5. That's 10. That's huge. All of a sudden, they've got to find out a way to get this. They need a break point. Michigan needs a break point. They hit the 5, and that's not going to be enough. They're going to miss 14 to 13, and Indiana is our 2002 Breakpoint champions. And here are your final standings. Indiana, with a record of 4-1, are the 2002 Breakpoint champions. Michigan just comes up short, 3-2. And just some fun stats here. We can see Notre Dame, with all their big breakpoints, actually had the most points per game. And Michigan, the reason they were there, 4 breakpoints. All right, tune in next week for the off season. Thanks.